Quran. I am Raymond Ita. Let's take a look at the headlines. Federal government announces dates for Christmas and New Year holidays. Federal government seeks minimum wage compliance, begins implementation. Plus, Comoros to chair African Union in 2023. We will bring you details of these stories and more in a moment. Welcome back and many thanks for staying with us. Our first news this afternoon is that the federal government has declared December 26 and 27, 2022 as public holidays to mark the Christmas Day celebration. Minister of Interior Ralph Aregbesola made the announcement in a statement by the ministry's permanent secretary, Dr. Shuai Belgore, urging Christians and Nigerians to make the best use of the festive period to pray for the total eradication of insecurity troubling the country. The minister also urged Nigerians to be security conscious, asking them to report any suspicious persons or activities to the nearest security agency through the N Alert application on Android. Meanwhile, the federal government has announced that the implementation of the national minimum wage was critical to the nation's development. But this was disclosed by the Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, at a public enlightenment and sensitization workshop for the field officers monitoring the implementation of the national minimum wage in Abuja, which was organized by the National Salaries, Incomes and Changed, as a satisfied worker would contribute effectively and efficiently to the sustainability and growth of an enterprise. Well, speaking further, he said the workshop was critical to implementing the mandate of the ministry and the federal government has commenced the collection of data on people affected by is being collected by the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. A team leader, Nadia Mohammed Soso, who spoke with News, Mohammed Soso expressed hope that the beneficiaries of the exercise will make good use of the opportunity and provide concrete information that would guide the ministry in achieving its set goals. Muhammadu Buhari to urgently order the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Rabo, to initiate coordinated joint security operations to flush out terrorists from Kaduna and Ebonyi states. Moving a motion of urgent national importance, Minority Whip Gideon Gwani in the state. Gwani, who regretted that the House passed several resolutions on stringent measures were taken to safeguard the lives of Nigerians, the nation's security might become more precarious. Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, to set up a joint patrol team to comb farmlands and forests in Ebonyi State to flush out terror. Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has defended the cash withdrawal limit policy, insisting that it was not targeted at vulnerable people. Defending the policy, Ahmad declared that Nigeria could operate a cashless economy, noting that about 94% of cash withdrawals through personal accounts were less than the revised 500,000 naira per week. The CBN Governor Gordon Emefiele, who had twice failed to appear before the lawmakers to defend the policy, which had generated a groundswell of opposition from Nigerians. Meanwhile, the Standard Organization of Nigeria, while restating its commitments to quality and standards. was speaking during the ceremony in the need for everyone to understand the importance of quality and standards in product key to the economic growth and well-being of society. He further expressed satisfaction that both manufacturers and consumers have realized the importance of standards while embracing standards set by some. A leading brand that provides luxury products and services has been honored as the Luxury Company of the Year at the 2022 Annual Top 10 Magazine Awards, recognizing companies and individuals who have made significant contributions to boost the country's economy in their respective industries. General Manager of Capital Luxury, on behalf of its team, Capital Luxury has established itself as a top player in the luxury industry, offering an unparalleled selection of high-end products and services to its discerning clientele. The Top 10 Magazine Awards ceremony was attended back here. Akwa Ibom have been urged to follow safety measures, especially while traveling, as they celebrate the year of the Federal Road Safety Corps. Akwa Ibom State Paul James advised drivers to drive within the approved speed limit to ensure safe travels.
Of activities for the festivities, leading to lots of human and vehicular movements. Most times, the festivity rush exposes people to accidents and criminal activities like getting robbed or being kidnapped. With this, it has become a norm for security agencies to deploy more personnel to protect citizens, as well as Akwa Ibom State Paul James, who spoke on Spectrum Television's Breakfast Show, advised citizens on precautionary measures during the season.
It's also important that while you're traveling, please let your family members know the road. So for that reason, don't sit back and allow the driver have his way, do whatever that he likes. We advise that when you are seated in a vehicle, please, where you observe the driver is being reckless, it's your duty and responsibility to also call that driver to order. Yes, you need to caution the heat. Then you can reach out to the management of that motor park and they will be able to call that driver to order. At worst case scenario, security operatives on the way can also help talk to the drivers.
He also spoke about the enlightenment given to drivers to keep people safe.
Virtually every morning we go from one motor park to the other to ensure that we interact, we interface with. So at churches, we do it in schools, though schools are vacated now, but in churches, marketplaces, in fact, all public areas, we carry out sensitization programs. All is geared towards reawakening people's conscience to the issue of safety.
Just like safe, it is, however, pertinent for citizens to follow safety measures during the Yuletide season. Edidio Martin, reporting for Spectrum Television.
We move now to Africa, where a meeting of Ethiopian government reps will be traveling to Tigray capital Mekelle with the African Union's monitoring and verification team to check on the implementation of the Ethiopian peace deal before the end of this month. Kenyatta said he will deal. Kenyatta also hinted that all foreign forces will be out of the Tigray.
I don't want to mention specific dates, but let's say they make when we are in Mekelle in the next few days, observing and verifying the act and agreed to give the monitoring and verification team of the African Union full access, all the elements of the agreement are actually going to be implemented.
Well, still in Africa, Comoros has been certified to assume the chairmanship of the Africa assignment. Recall that Comoros was handed the responsibility after Kenya withdrew its bid, with President Azali Assoumani and his Kenyan counterpart William Ruto being separate Nairobi's commitment to promoting unity and stability in the East African region. It further represents the continent on various international platforms. With us. Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. Women getting vaccinated and wearing masks as the country remains on alert for potential new variants that could emerge from the wave of infections sweeping across neighboring China. Health Minister Manshuk Mandavia after he asked regional authorities to send positive samples to laboratories monitoring for new COVID strains. Meanwhile, states have been told to make people aware of the need to wear masks, use hand sanitizers, maintain respiratory hygiene and social distancing, as well as receive vaccines or booster shots. On the January 6th Capitol riots, the U.S. House Select Committee investigating the insurrection has recommended barring former President Donald Trump a comprehensive overview of the bipartisan panel's findings on how Trump and his allies sought to overturn the 2020 presidential election has been released. The 845-page report, based on 1,000-plus interviews and documents collected, including emails, text, phone records, and a year and a half of investigation, includes allegations that Trump oversaw the legally dubious effort to put forward fake slates of electors in 7 states he lost. According to the report, evidence shows that Trump actively worked to transmit what could be unlawful. Meanwhile, Committee Chairman Benny Thompson, a Mississippi Democrat, has expressed confidence that the work of the committee will help provide a roadmap to justice and that the agencies and institutions responsible for ensuring justice under the law will use the information provided to aid in their work. We move to business news, where the World Bank has approved $311 million to increase. It noted that existing and progressive electricity in Chad, Liberia, Sierra Leone and Togo would benefit from the new Regional Emergency Solar Power Intervention Project. Reports say the new project includes a $20 million grant to help facilitate future regional power trade and strengthen the institutional leader of the project, saying that many have sustainable benefits for the countries and the region. In health, manufacturers have paid 403.2 billion naira tax to the federal government in the last 1 year, despite the current economic crisis. The data from the company income tax report published by the National Bureau of Statistics showed a significant spike in terms of sectoral contributions. The top 3 largest shares within the period in the review were manufacturing, information and communication, and financial and insurance. But still in health, the federal government has restated its commitment to reduce the negative impact of pesticides in foods, especially cowpea. The federal government stated this during the introduction of the pod borer-resistant cowpea named Sempi in Gombe. The DEX officer, Cowpea Value, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Distant Variety, noting that Sempi 20T would help curb the overwhelming health challenges associated with harmful pesticides. The event also witnessed the enlightenment of participants on the post-harvest handling techniques, while the Lagos State government has said over 230,000 vulnerable residents of the state. Commissioner for Health, Professor Akinabayomi, disclosed this at the unveiling of a new health initiative known as Eco-Social Health Alliance Administration Training and Program in the ministry. Dr. Fumilayo Shukumbi said the state government was working relentlessly towards achieving universal health coverage in the state. Access to the pitch after the World Cup final, where he enthusiastically posed for photos with surprised Argentina players, including a bemused and irritated Lionel Messi, beat France in Sunday's final in Qatar. The Turkish entrepreneur was widely criticized for twice grabbing the arm of Messi, who tried to sidestep the unwanted attention. He was also photographed with Angel Di Maria and Lisandro Martinez, and even seen sinking his teeth into another officials and heads of state. Well, still in sports, CAF President Patrice Motsepe African team, after only 4 teams from the continent have reached the quarterfinal to reach the semi-final of the quadrennial competition in Qatar. The Confederation of Africa have qualified for the World Cup 6 times with their best performance at the campus global football showpiece. On our entertainment news, YouTube video platform has won the right to broadcast most NFL football games in the US next year. It announced that a major win by Google's subsidiary underscores the growing role of streaming in sports. Google will pay around $2 billion a year over the next 7 years. US media reported for the right to broadcast Sunday's games on its subscription YouTube TV service, available only in the United States. Reports say YouTube TV subscribers who now pay $64.99, or they can view them on an all a la carte basis on its YouTube Primetime Channels platform. Still on entertainment, popular rapper Olarewaju Ogumefun, better known as Vector, has tied the knot with his longtime girlfriend and child's ceremony, attended by a few friends and family. The award-winning hip-hop star donned a white shirt and black trousers, while his wife and little daughter wore white dresses with matching color headbands. Recall that Vector and Yinka welcomed their first child in December 2020. Social media platforms, and do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website at spectrumtv.ng. Don't forget, you can also find us on Startimes at channel 136. Thank you so much. You've been watching the news at 12. I am Raymond Ita. Enjoy the rest of the day's broadcast.